Jacob, or Jake Wetterling, from St. Joseph, Minnesota in the USA, was born on Friday, the 17th of February 1978. And today is 40 years later. It is Saturday, 17th of February 2018. And here is the time right now in Hugo, Minnesota, in the USA. It is 7:16 p.m. on Saturday, 17th of February 2018. And across the other side of the world, in Australia, we've just had a tropical cyclone cross the Kimberley, or perhaps the what's this coast called? The Port Hedland coast, the Pilbara, at Anna Plains. And this stretch of coast is called 80 Mile Beach. So this cyclone crossed right on Anna Plains just in the last hour. And the cyclone in question is this one here. Not this one, that's Gita, but this one whirling away here, which is Tropical Cyclone Kelvin. And it became a Category 2 as it crossed the coast today. And here's advice number 28 for this cyclone, issued at 9:06 a.m. Still a Category 2. It's crossed the coast. And like I said, it's 12:17 here on the 18th. It's 19 days before Friday, 9th of March. And 17 is Jake's birthday. Friday, Jake was born on a Friday, but this year it was Saturday, the 17th. And Nathan Breeze also was born on a Friday, but his birthday, 24th of November, also falls on a Saturday this year. And 24th of February is also a Saturday. So, 17. Jake's date of birth and the date of a cyclone in Australia. So Hugo was also the name of a hurricane that hit America the same year that Jake was kidnapped or abducted. And interestingly, the location of Hugo, Daniel, the guy who took Jacob was named Daniel James Heinrich, or Danny Heinrich. And the name Daniel has a value of 45. If you add up D-A-N-I-E-L according to their places in the alphabet, those letters, Daniel, 45, the same as Phil, which is my name. And Daniel James has a value of 93. And that's his name, Daniel James, the guy who killed Jay. So now I'm going to show you something pretty weird, because I was just looking at the Weather Channel. I've been looking at on here a little bit at the latest satellite view of this cyclone and all that, and I just noticed it's 22 degrees in Melbourne right now. The 22nd of October was a Sunday. That's when Jake died in 1989, and it was just before that Hugo hit America. And 22 is temperature in Melbourne right now. Nathan Breeze, 13-year-old boy, died near Melbourne at Kinglake West on Black Saturday in the bushfires. And he's the boy I've connected to Jake. So now it's 12:19 p.m. We are 19 days away from Friday, 9th of March. Did I mention the dog? Jake had a pet dog named Marcus. That's true, he did. And Marcus, M-A-R-C-U-S. So yeah, we've seen the cyclone on the internet. What about on TV? I might show you something on TV now. I think I should, because I noticed something really interesting which I'm about to show you. Actually, before I show you that, I'll show you something else just quickly, because it sort of helps explain it. Okay, so Jacob Wetterling, like I said, was born on Friday, 17th of February 1978, so today is his birthday. He was athletic. You saw the photo of Jake. He was an ice hockey player. He was an ice hockey goalie. He also played, here he is on a horse at a school camp. That's Nathan, the 13-year-old boy who I've connected to Jake. Nathan again. Nathan again. Jake. Jake. And Jake was also a soccer player, football player, swimmer. So yeah, quite an athletic boy. And also keen on fishing. So he was an outdoors active sort of kid. And so was Nathan, the boy who I've connected to Jake. Nathan was big on BMXing. He was into cars, especially hot rods, fast cars. So typical boys, basically. Typical boys who had very untypical things happen to them. Especially for the time they were living in, which was 1989. Depending how you look at it. So Jacob Wetterling, Jake was 1989. Nathan died 20 years later, in 2009. So, Nathan was the victim of a bushfire. Jake was the victim of an abduction. Jake was a swimmer, so I throw in the word dolphin in there. Jake would have turned bad athlete, as in not bad at athletics, but just a bad athlete. Bad boy. Jake would have turned 40 today, but his life on Earth came to an end suddenly when he was 11 years and 8 months old on Sunday 22nd of October 1989. Why? Because he was the victim of an abduction. Abduction, if you add up the letters according to their places in the alphabet, abduction equals 89. Nathan Jacob, 89. Jacob Wetterling is 164. And yeah, I've put some other things that are 164, but what's important here is that Jake was abducted in 1989, which is the value of the word abduction. Jacob Wetterling equals 164. Well, check this out. Something I just noticed looking at this weather report. It struck me as pretty odd, coincidental.
It has now made landfall around the Anna Plains area north of the 8 Mile Beach region, south of Bidjadanga. There is a red alert issued by the DFES, which does include that area, and up to Bidjadanga region. Basically means take shelter now. The cyclone is crossing. As a Category 2 tropical cyclone, it's capable of producing gusts up to 150 kilometers an hour near its central core, with sustained winds estimated to be around 100 kilometers an hour. The eye is clear on the radar imagery. There it is, right over there, and you can see the outer band spiraling around and hitting places like Broome, West Roebuck, and Bidjadanga region. Thankfully, further south is where it's made landfall, and it's a much less populated stretch of coastline. You can clearly see the eye crossing into the coast, and that happened during a Sunday morning. All right, latest rainfall totals also showing very wet conditions there.
Wetterling. What struck me was the rainfall totals. 89.8, you might round that up to 90, but even if you do, wet boy equals 90, abduction 89, and Jacob Wetterling 164. So I just noticed those rain totals and thought, wow. Interesting reflection. Another interesting reflection. I've already gone through a lot of the other ones, but that was just one more to do with these two boys, Jacob Wetterling and Nathan Briz. Jacob's birthday is today, if you're in Minnesota. It's the 18th of February in Australia, and it's 22 degrees in Melbourne. And we've got a cyclone. You can just make out the eye of it in the satellite photo, which you couldn't earlier. But yeah, it's 7:25 p.m. now on Saturday, 17th of February 2018 in Minnesota. Doesn't matter whereabouts in Minnesota. Jake lived in St. Joseph, Minnesota. And today's his birthday.